One of the biggest principles of Big Profit Energy is not just being able to create bigger, bolder goals, it's actually to achieve bigger, bolder goals. And in today's episode, I want to give you an update on my 90-day action cycle and what's going on with that. And I also want to share with you how you are going to create bigger, bolder goals that are going to change your life. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Big Profit Energy Podcast. I'm your host, Kim McCarter. I'm going to be your guide, your coach, and the voice in your ear, reminding you that this is your season of Big Profit Energy, where bold moves, brave dreams, and big profits are just the beginning. And as a reminder, baby, you got this.
Yeah.
Hey, so I am super excited about this episode because I really wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with my 90-day action cycle. And I am actually recording this little insert on top of an episode that was already coming your way because it fits perfectly into what I wanted to talk about. So I am literally about 10 days into my 90-day action plan. This is the first 90-day action plan I have done for 2024. And one of the things I told you about in the first episode, where I broke down how I was going to do a new 90-day routine, an enhanced version, I talked about how I was going to add some things to my 90-day routine. And one of the things I added was at night when I was doing my gratitude journaling, I was also doing forgiveness, but one new addition was, what must I get done tomorrow? And when I say I wasn't even a week into the action plan and I already saw a significant difference. By thinking about one thing I have to absolutely get done tomorrow and writing it down, it literally has changed how I go about my day. So you may be wondering, like, how is that showing up? Well, one of the things I started to realize is if I'm moving about my day and I haven't done the one thing I said must get done tomorrow, it literally becomes a constant nag. Did you do this? When are you going to do this? Don't forget to do this. And it forced me to focus how I move. So now, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to do this or do that, even if I do get sidetracked, I get that constant reminder of the thing I absolutely said I'm going to get done. And I wanted to test the theory. You guys know I am a project. Well, if you don't know, I am a project manager by trade, black belt. And I'm also a data analyst. So for me, I am always going to need some proof that something is possible, or is this really working the way that I think it is? So I actually went a day and I didn't write down a thing and I didn't get that nagging thought. Then I wrote down what must I absolutely get done tomorrow, and I got that nagging thought. Then I went 2 days and I didn't have that nagging thought. And so I went back to writing every night, what must I get done tomorrow? And what must I get done tomorrow does not always have to be related to the business. It could be from different parts of the fulfillment factor. But what I have realized is when I do that, I absolutely get that thing done. And that is a significant change, especially if you have a bigger, bolder goal and you need to develop your discipline muscle. So right now, that is the update that I have for you, that even with only being a week in, I am seeing significant changes in my enhanced daily routine. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you how to create bigger, bolder goals that you can actually achieve. And what I'm going to focus on in this episode for you guys is literally how to step into the mindset and the identity of the person who not just creates bigger, bolder goals, but becomes the person who marks bigger, bolder goals off their list. Hey there, dreamers and doers. Are you ready to ditch the overwhelm and step into a flow that aligns with your deepest desires? I know if you're anything like me, you know it is time for a change. And that's why I want to invite you to download my free guidebook, Hustle and Flow. Listen, this is your season of big profit energy, and it is not about working harder. It's about working smarter with intention and alignment. And I want to invite you to discover how to blend strategy with soul, action with alignment, and hustle with flow. If you're looking to transform your approach to success and manifest your dreams with ease, this guide is your blueprint. Tune in, align, and let's make magic happen together. Download your free guide on our website at www.bigprofitenergy.com/guide. When I got in the habit of creating bigger, bolder goals and teaching my clients to do the same, I realized that there were a couple of principles and theories and strategies that had to come together to make sure that it could work. And the reason for me doing that was because I realized that a lot of people create goals that they believe in, but there's always that self-doubt that creeps in and keeps them from going after the goal with the type of vigor that can make it happen. When it comes to creating success in your life, there are going to be two ways that you're going to do it. People create success. Well, let me say this. 90% of the people who create massive amounts of success in their life or have successful events in their life do it through nonstop grind, hustle, I'm going to make this happen by any means necessary type of work. Then you have some people who, although they put in the work looks really fun for them and they enjoy it. And even when they talk about the setbacks, the obstacles, and the challenges, they talk about how they were looking forward to it, the lessons that they learned, and how they were actually able to keep their faith and their family and relationships intact. And when I started thinking about the bigger, bolder goals I wanted to create, I realized I wanted to be like the 10% and I didn't want to be like the 90. And that meant I had to figure it out. The first thing that you have to consider when you are going after bigger, bolder goals is this goal really your goal? I talk about this so much because far too many people create bigger, bolder goals based on what someone is telling them their goal should be. Your goals have to be 100% your goals and a part of the vision that you feel like is cast over your life. I was telling my homeboy a couple of weeks ago that there is a master script in our life, and you have to step into the vision of what you feel like that master script is going to be in your life. Once you get really clear on what that master script is, you can then create the actions to help get you there. The second thing that you have to consider when you are creating bigger, bolder goals is, do you believe in the goal or do you know you can get the goal? It comes down to as simple as that. There is a difference between, oh, I believe this can happen, like in the law of duality, versus I know this for fact, like the law of polarity. And I know I'm really simplifying those two laws when I say that, but that's what part of my purpose here is. My purpose is to take these big mystical concepts and bring them down into tangible conversations that you can use to change your life. And I was reading a book a couple of months ago, and in the book, the young lady was talking about the 7 Hermetic principles. And these principles are the basic law to which the entire universe is subject. And the 7 principles are the principle of spirituality, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. Now, the principle of spirituality is the universe is a spirit, the human being is a spirit, everything is consciousness. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below. So, as in a microcosm, so is a macrocosm, as within, so without. The principle of vibration, nothing is at rest, everything moves, everything vibrates and can be modeled at the same time. The principle of polarity, everything has 2 sides, right or wrong, good or bad, is 2 sides of the same coin. The principle of rhythm, everything flows, everything has its ties, rhythms and cycles create balance and movement. The principle of cause and effect, every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause, there are no coincidences. The principle of gender, everything has 2 poles, everything carries male and female principles, everything gives and receives. Now, the original translation wasn't quite error-free, and what the book was explaining was the 4th principle should actually be called not the principle of polarity, but the principle of duality. Everything has 2 sides, right or wrong, good or bad, 2 sides of the same coin. Everything does have 2 sides, however, only from the observer's point of view, because the truth is, it's always the same coin. The perspective of observation is the variable, right? Especially when we talk about things like right or wrong. Then the 7th principle, which is the principle of gender, that should actually be the principle of polarity. Everything has 2 poles. Everything carries male and female principle. Everything gives and receives. Everything carries 2 poles, even the coin. And the book broke down the reason. And the reason is polarity and duality are not synonymous. Polarity is complementary and interdependent, whereas duality exists only from the observer's point of view and is therefore contradictory. And they gave examples on what that meant. Polarity is things like male and female, heart and mind, electric and magnetic, plus and minus, where duality is right or wrong, yes or no, good or evil, practicals or waves. So polarity is objective and indispensable, plus and minus. Duality is subjective and allows only one side, right or wrong, depending on the state of consciousness. The balance of the 2 poles is also called coherence or 0 point. This is where everything is possible. The full potential can be unfolded. And when I was thinking about this, and I was like, so is that the difference in the belief of I believe it can happen and I know it can happen. And when you are thinking about that goal, you have to think about it from that space. I believe I can happen is what leaves room for your limiting beliefs, your cultural agreements, which then manifests as self-doubt, self-sabotage, procrastination, fear. When you know it can happen, I'm going to move through the obstacles. I'm going to move through the challenges. I'm going to move through the setbacks because I know that when any of these things happen, it's only temporary. And as long as I lean into the aligned actions that I committed myself to, anything is possible and anything can happen because it's already been written. But how do you really get to that space of knowing versus believing? That comes down into really stepping into the vision of what it is that you are trying to call into your life and what that bigger, bolder goal is. A lot of times when you are creating bigger, bolder goals, you are still downplaying what it is that you want. Everyone doesn't want Bezos' billions. Everyone doesn't want the Oprah Winfrey life. Everyone doesn't even want the 7-figure business. But you get to decide what it is that you want and what it is that you are going after. And when you think about what that looks like, not just for your business, but for your life as a whole, you can really begin to manifest and bring things into your life that will move your life forward. When you get clear, and I mean crystal clear, on what the vision is that you are going after, what will also happen is you will start to see more of the vision. The vision will start to expand. I believe that that tends to happen because our higher power knows that we can only handle so much. And rather than give us too much access, it controls how we move, because the more we move and the more we take aligned action, the more expansive the vision becomes. So even if you are someone who feels like you are operating from the very edges of your existence, you are operating from the very edges of your vision, and you're maybe listening to this and you may be like, well, damn, Kim, how can the vision get any bigger? I'm already going after a $10 million a year business. Well, if you are currently going after a $10 million a year business and you have a $10 million a year business, what's next? That's the key. That's the secret. The secret is the vision behind the vision, okay? So this is the first thing that you want to consider when you are creating bigger, bolder goals. The first thing you want to do is get really centered in yourself. I tell people you have to learn how to get grounded. And I understand the idea that so many people are like, I can't meditate because I can't turn my brain off. Well, if you can't turn your brain off, there are some tools that can help you do that. I was someone who could not meditate without always having an idea or my mind wandering. Here's what you really want to do. And I know for some people, this may be a little like far left, right? Depending on what your religious beliefs are. But I'm going to tell you, like a pastor told me many years ago, what you have to learn how to do is take what someone's telling you and apply it to yourself in the way that works. So, for instance, I'm not someone who lights like magic candles. I don't do that, right? But I do like scented candles, and I have scented candles all around my house. And part of waking up my home every day is lighting my candles in the morning. So when I light my candle in the morning, I leave that candle up and I leave it burning. What I realized one day, totally random, this was probably about 7 years ago. I was sitting in my living room and I was watching the news. I had like some coffee or tea or something, and somehow the candle flame caught my attention. And I just started staring at the candle flame. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and it was like an hour later. And I was like, I wasn't even tired. How did I fall asleep? And I had mentioned it to a friend of mine, and she was like, because the flame calmed your mind so much that you had no choice but to go into a state of rest. And I was like, oh, similar to like hypnosis or meditation. And she was like, yeah. So she was like, try that. Like, you were anti candle trick because it was tied to all this magic and stuff. Like, there aren't religions like Catholics who light candles in church, right? She was like, sometimes y'all get so caught up in like what it means and being anti witchcraft that you weren't really paying attention to what you can and can't do. And that was the second time someone had had a conversation with me like that, because my pastor had had that same conversation a few years prior where he was like, don't get so caught up in the fact that they're saying universe that you think that you can't insert the word Jesus, right? He was like, a lot of times what we are doing is similar in principle, but because it's the name is different, we lose focus. You can always bring things back to what it is that's important to you in everything that you're doing. And that definitely makes sense, right? So learn how to get clear and ground yourself. So whether you're using a candle, that works. Another thing that really works is instrumental music. So whether it's soft classical, smooth jazz, or frequency binary beats, which I prefer. And I prefer frequency music because frequency music is designed to alert different parts of the brain. We have different brain waves that allow us to go into different states of awareness. So using frequency music is going to help you do that. That is my preferred method. I use frequency music when we create our guided visualizations. We teach our clients to use it because you do have to get into a state of being super grounded. And the reason why you need to do that is because you need to bring yourself into you so that way you can get clear on what it is you actually want. And when you are in that space, you're literally really going into that space asking yourself, what do I want this to look like? Where do I see my life in 5 years? What is it I want? And when you start seeing that vision come into focus, you are looking at not just what you physically have, but your emotions and your mental health as well. So, what is your mental health? How do you feel? Do you see? Do you smell? Do you taste anything? And when you are starting to get clear on all those things, you just really start looking around and bringing yourself more into the vision. Another way that you can do that is if you have an idea on what you are going after and what it is you want, when you get clear and you get grounded, you just ask yourself, like, why do I want this? Why is this important to me? And how is it going to change my life? How is it going to change the life of others? And once I have this and using it to change the life of others, what am I going to do next? When you start getting clear and keep asking yourself, and then what, and then what, and then what, you start to expand the vision and the purpose that is here just for you. It is your master script and you are here to live it. Once you get clear on that, you really are saying to yourself, that vision is there. It is not my job to dictate what my yellow brick road looks like. Because the yellow brick road is going to have obstacles, it's going to have challenges, because life is going to happen around us. You are not the only person in the master script. Everyone is in their own master script, and we have human will. So our human will can take us on any detour that we allow ourselves to go on. As you are moving through that space of the vision, your job is then to do a couple of different things. You know what the vision is, but you also need to know where you're at right now. And a lot of times when people take the vision and then they take where they are right now, they start to go, okay, these are all the things that need to happen and for me to get there. When you do that, that means you believe it can happen. You don't know it can happen. The reason why I say that is because you think that you have to go through all of these arbitrary steps to get to the vision. But what happens if you start the thing and then something happens and you quantum leap into the vision? Because quantum leaps is possible. Miracles happen, every single thing. Part of the reason why people think miracles can't happen in their lives is because they tie miracles to things like life after death or healing. Like they say he had stage 4 cancer and he only had 6 months to live, but now he's been here 15 years, right? Or like I have a play niece who's the daughter of a friend of mine who had a liver transplant when she was a baby, and y'all, she about to be 30. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't live that long with transferred organs, but she about to be 30, right? That's a miracle in itself. So when we think of miracles, we think of that. But we forget that miracles can happen in so many different forms. And part of the reason why that's important is because you'll start to realize that I don't have to be responsible for going through all of these tasks. I only have to be responsible for my aligned actions. And there is a way that you can get to your aligned actions. In order to get to your aligned actions, the very first thing that you have to do once you have the vision is you have to get clear on everything that is coming up for you that can keep you from the vision. What's everything that can keep you from the vision? You need to get a piece of paper and you need to write it all out. And you're going to notice that your limiting beliefs are going to be in there. Your cultural agreements are going to be in there. That's what that list is. And once you write all of that out, you have to go back through the list and you have to reaffirm yourself. So, for instance, if one of your things is my audience can't afford to pay $5,000 to join my program, you have that on your list. And so you have to get rid of that belief and you have to go, there are perfectly aligned clients who can afford to pay $5,000 and more for my guidance and support. You literally have to take what can keep you from it, those beliefs, and you have to turn it into a knowing fact. It's just as simple as that. The reason why you are doing that is because you are shifting your focus. The law of attraction is a secondary law. It operates under the law of vibration. If you are operating in the vibration of my audience can't afford to pay me $5,000, you are going to continue to have an audience who can't afford to pay you $5,000. If you are operating under the vibration of my perfectly aligned clients to pay $5,000 or more for my guidance and support, you will start to create content and your content will start to show up in front of perfectly aligned clients who can afford to pay you $5,000 or more. It's really that simple. And some people think that the simplicity of that is what keeps them away from the bigger, bolder goal. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It really is just that simple. And what happens is you shift from a belief to a known fact. And the reason why it becomes a known fact is because the more you operate in your empowered thoughts, the more those things will start to manifest in your life. And all it takes is for one thing to manifest in your life for you to stop having doubts. Even as, think about this, right? Even if something manifests in your life and then for whatever reason you can't repeat the process, you no longer say, that can't happen for me. You now go, oh, well, maybe it was a fluke, right? I don't want you to even say maybe it's a fluke. I want you to now say, how can I make that happen again? Because then the conversation shifts, the conversation changes. Not the conversation you need to have with your homeboys and homegirls, not the conversation that you need to have with your family or friends, but the conversation you're having with yourself, the conversation you're having with your higher power. How can I make that happen again? What do I need to do to support the vision? Notice I said support the vision, not to make it happen, because that's the third part of this. So once you've gotten clear on the vision, once you know what's beyond the vision, once you've created your list of what's going to keep me from this and turned it into empowered thoughts, you then have to say, I know that this is a done deal. It is a done deal. I can quantum leap into that space, but I want to accelerate the process. How do I support it? Not how do I make it happen? It's not about that. It is what is your supporting factor. And what you're going to look at is you're going to then say, what am I going to commit to for the next 90 days to accelerate the vision? 3 things I'm going to commit to over the next 90 days. And the reason why that's important is because the 90 days that you're working on those 3 things, a couple of different things are going to happen. One, every day when you go to do tasks, if you are doing things that are not a part of the 3 things that you committed to, that's not aligned action. If for whatever reason you start getting reoccurring thoughts that are in their empowered state, you will start to notice that as you are doing your daily routine and your journaling, things will start to unfold and they will start to get clearer and clearer. One of the things that has happened to me over the last week and a half is I started realizing that the affirmation that I was saying, while it was true and I believed in it, the more I started journaling around my 90-day affirmation, the clearer I got on what I wanted versus what I didn't want. And I realized that I was doing things based on what I didn't want instead of doing things based on what I did want. And how I realized that is because as I was writing and as I was journaling, I go back and I read through the vision and beyond the vision. And I went, wait, if I want this, why am I doing this? This is not going to give me this. I need to do this instead. Oh, that's why that reoccurring thought keeps coming up. I call it the Jesus knock. I swear it'd be like this, right? It'd be like, and I'd be like, okay. Then it go, and I'd be like, I can't get rid of that thought. It's like a little nag, right? Then if I keep ignoring it, it physically starts to manifest. I will hear it on the radio. I'll hear it online. I'll have a conversation with a friend. And I have realized, and I learned this the hard way, so I'm going to give it to you. And I'm sure this may show up for everyone differently. But you know how they be like, everything comes in threes. I swear for Jesus, that's true. Like it comes in threes. I'll hear something online. I'll see a meme or something. However it shows up in threes. And I'll be like, wait, I must be missing something here. What am I missing here? What am I not paying attention to? Building my self-awareness has kept me out of a lot of ish. Building my self-awareness in manifestation and in goals and in aligned action has also let me realize how easy it is for me to operate in wisdom. And remember, operating in wisdom is operating in an open heart that everything in your life is meant for it to happen the way that it plays out. And your job is to figure out what the lesson is in it. Because I have a personal responsibility in getting to my goals and making sure I'm using my discernment in a way for that to happen. When I am operating from that space, every action is important. Every action is aligned. And even if I take action that I think is aligned and it's not, it's going to bring a level of clarity where I'm going to realize I should have not been doing that and it's okay to pivot. So many people are scared to pivot because people are telling you online that every time you pivot, like it's because you're trying to self-sabotage. But sometimes your pivots are based on clarity. Sometimes your pivots are based on alignment. Your pivots are based on a discernment and really getting you closer to the goal. That's why it's so important to make sure that you have access to resources, coaches, and mentorship that can help you discern your thoughts, not because they're trying to lead the way for you, but they can ask you the type of questions you need to be asked so that way you can formulate the answers that you need to formulate. When you are in the right coaching spaces, not only do you get clarity, but you get clarity that aligns with your core values. It's what I tell my clients all the time. Whenever I'm coaching my clients, especially in direct message coaching, I am always asking them questions. And because I already have an idea what their core values are and what they're going after, I literally tell them, now take this and do this with these journal prompts or this meditation and make sure that you are taking your right steps. I give all of my clients access to their human design and their energetic blueprint so that way they can operate from their authentic success. They can identify their core values and they can make decisions that are going to align with where they want to go in life. Being able to make those type of decisions really help you not just stay in alignment, but stay in integrity. Make sure you are maintaining your core values and you are expanding on the vision that your higher power has given you. When you are able to operate from that space, miracles happen in your life. When miracles happen in your life, you change your life and you change the lives of your family and friends. Not only do you change the lives of your family and friends, your business now changes the lives of its clients and customers. And as you're changing their lives, they'll go out there and change someone else's life. We are all a part of the circle of transformation. And when we remember and operate from that space, we can actually move the collective forward. A lot of times the collective isn't moving forward because enough of us are not operating in alignment. We're operating in our ego. We're operating from a place of disgrace. We're operating from a place of lack and scarcity. We can't operate from those places and also be trying to move in abundance as well. This is all things that you need to consider when you are creating bigger, bolder goals, because you don't want to just create bigger, bolder goals. You actually want to achieve bigger, bolder goals. And the first step to that is creating goals that are in alignment with the vision that is a part of the master script in your life. So just to reiterate those steps before we get off of here, you're going to get grounded, you're going to meditate, and you're going to ask yourself, what is the vision? How is it going to change your life? How is it going to change the lives of others? And what's going to happen once you've gotten to the vision? So that way you can understand what's going to happen next. The second thing you want to do is you want to get clear on all of the things that can keep you from that vision. And you want to take those things and you want to rewrite them so they can become empowered thoughts, because you want to operate at the highest levels of vibration, because you want to think and you want to move from the person who is in the identity that you are creating versus where you are now, stuck on the Ferris wheel. And then the third thing you want to do is you now want to go, what am I going to focus on over the next 90 days? What are the 3 things I'm going to focus on? So that way I can accelerate the process, because the vision is already a done deal. I'm just trying to get there, and I'm open to quantum leaping to get there. I just want to make sure I do my part. I already know my higher power is taking care of the rest, but I want to make sure I'm using my discernment and human will in the best way possible. And if I can accelerate this process, I am. Let me say this before I go. Another reason why I talk about the aligned action piece is because there does have to be some type of forward movement for you to manifest and bring things into fruition. The other reason why I talk about the aligned action piece is because that self-awareness is going to be key. Developing your self-awareness muscle is so important to your journey, and it really can make a difference. Based on this alone, you are just 3 actions away from achieving bigger, bolder goals. And that is absolutely something that you can do this year. So if you need to go back and listen to this episode again, take more detailed notes, I invite you to do that. Also, if you haven't done so already, download the Hustle and Flow guide. It is going to give you help on identifying your subconscious success blocks. It also includes 100 wealth affirmations to get you to bigger, bolder goals. I am excited to see and hear about all of the things you manifest in your life this year. And as a reminder, baby, you got this.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Big Profit Energy. I want you to remember, your power and success are in your hands. Keep channeling your main character energy, and don't forget to manifest your dreams into reality. Until next time, stay empowered, stay inspired, and keep igniting that big profit energy. Be sure to hit subscribe for more, and let's keep this energy flowing. I'll see you on the next episode of Big Profit Energy.